first thing we're going to do is build a playlist. So there's a couple different ways you can build a playlist. One is literally just create items, headers, drag segments in, and so forth, sort of the manual way. And the other way is to create sort of a planning center, pull in planning center. And I don't have the service. The downside of pulling in planning centers, you can't look at past services. But this would be one way to do it also. If I hit select, notice how I've got all these in here. And it's pretty straightforward. It shows me, but it doesn't necessarily, I don't have these all linked and it doesn't necessarily look for them. So what we're going to do actually is we're going to create it manually, because most of the time you're just going to reuse the one that you built. So we're going to build one from scratch. If you were going to use Planning Center, you would want to convert this to a standard playlist. And then you could actually edit it in here. And you could do things like search for this document by going over here, build my life. I've already gotten the library, so I can link that, and so on. There are some upsides and some downsides to doing this. So we're gonna just go ahead and wipe this out and start from scratch. Okay, so Wednesday. Now let's pretend like I'm over here in Planning Center. I can see my order of service, and I'm basically gonna use this, or better yet, I print this out so I don't have to flip between it. So I would go in here, hit print, and I'd go to ACC production order, hit submit. I'm going to download that as a document. Here it is. And now I can I would print that out and use this sort of as a template. Okay. Now I'm going to keep this open in case I need to look to see maybe what version of this song is. If I click in, I can see some things like, let's see, what can I see here? Song, notes. Well, this is maybe a bad example. Oh, yep. Can't look at that. So a lot of times these will have lyrics in them. And I can't look at that. Awesome. Wow, that's weird. Oh, here it is. Okay, cool. Pay attention. All right, so going back to Planning Center. I'm going to go in. Now, what I'm going to do first of all is create a bunch of headers. So I've got several headers are basically related to clocks. So I've got several clocks I need to create. I don't need to create a countdown to 5 o'clock, but I do need a clock that then counts down to the transition rehearsal, and then one that counts down to doors, and then one that counts down to the start of service. So I actually need to create 4 headers. So first one is going to be check. Okay, another header is going to be transitions. And we've got doors. Then we got service start. Okay, so obviously I need to reorder these. And the reason I created headers is so that I can go in here. I normally make them some color that I can see pretty easily. Now we're going to relate this to a segment countdown. I need to count down to time. And for sound check starts at 5. I'm not actually going to put in 5 o'clock. I'm going to put in when the next thing happens, which if I look over here, my transition rehearsal is at 6:30. So what I'm going to do is go to countdown to time. I'm going to type in 6:30 p.m. Okay. And then when I hit trigger, this will actually count down to 6:30 p.m. I'm obviously doing this way before 6:30. Okay. Now next, the transitions needs to count down. Change the colors. Whoops. Close that again. Segment countdown. Countdown to time. I'm going to count down to doors. Okay. Same thing. Segment countdown, countdown to time. I'm counting down to the beginning of service. Okay. And that's correct. That's correct. That's correct. And then this one, the service start, I'm going to count down to the first segment, which is worship. So that when I pass this point, when I hit the beginning of service, I'll hit trigger, I'll click this, and then it will count down to the next segment. So I'm always making this segment count to the next segment. Okay, now I'm going to combine these into one segment document. And that's going to be like my welcome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for, I'll just go over here, Command F, college welcome. And again, once I build this, it's pretty much, I just need to erase some things inside. I don't need to rebuild everything every time. Okay, now I need another header. And this is going to be worship. And that one is going to count to the beginning of the message at 7:35. So this is the last one I'm going to do because this is taking forever. Count to time, blah, blah, blah. Once you have these created, it's a lot easier. 7:05, I believe, is what we're doing here. No, 7:35. So we're starting worship. When we hit trigger, it will count to 7:35. Okay, looking at worship, we got rest on us, so I'm clicking Command F. Okay, I can take this guy, drag it over here. Wow, look at that. Okay, Command F. If I had a piece of paper, it'd be so much easier. King of Kings. I think of a piece of paper as needing 0 battery, just another screen I can use. Oh, the cross. Okay. We might have some kind of spontaneous thing. A lot of times it's a good idea to just drop this spontaneous. And then essentially once you create, you can just delete things. And whatever people are singing, just create, here's a way to select a slide without launching it. Click in an empty space and drag over, okay? Then I can press Command C, Command V. I just copy pasted. You can also click, there's a duplicate, I think, maybe not. In any case, you can do edit slide. You can also do a quick edit if you do a misspelling. And so on. Launch the slide, clear, cool. All right, so I've got spontaneous in there. Next, I'm going to create another header for my message. Again, I'm not going to belabor all the clocks here, but my message, I would configure that to count to the next segment. And I need, in the message segment, I need a message. So college message. Okay, there's nothing in there. We're going to create that in a minute. And then we've got ministry. This is a lot easier once you've got it created and once you've got all the clocks in place. Okay, and then we've got touch of heaven, so Command F, touch of heaven. Look at that. Drag it in. And then we've got close service. I would actually probably do this. I would just do closing. I don't know, maybe not, whatever. And then College closing. Notice how I've got the name of each of these at the beginning, and then I have whatever slides I need in the closing. Okay, so I've created that. Pretty straightforward. If you need to look for a song that's not in there, so Breath of Heaven, Touch of Heaven, Touch of Heaven. I can search for song select. If I needed to bring this in, what I would do is hit import. And then generally you're going to do paragraph, one delimiter. You're going to tell it you want to use the worship 4 lines, whether you're doing caps or not. And then you want to bring it into the songs, and then you can actually add it to the playlist you're on, or another playlist, or no playlist. Okay, that's how you build out a service.